Last week on the Poisonrana Patreon, we talked all about the Andy Samberg movie Hot Rod in a brand new episode of Up Yours.
Okay, serious question though. Who would win in a fight, a grilled cheese or a taco?
Are we talking a straight up fight or prison rolls? I think is the...
No, I'm talking, is it hard shell or soft shell?
Yeah. I will fall into favor of the grilled cheese.
Interesting.
I do think that the simplicity of the grilled cheese and how everything is contained, though bigger, will not be worried about losing lettuce and tomato and sour cream and beef and stuff during the fight, right? So, yeah, it's grilled cheese all the way for me.
All right, other question. Who'd win in a fight, Will Arnett or Danny McBride?
Oh, man.
Both have drank 10 Bud Lights.
Both have drank 10 Bud Lights? I'm going to go with Danny McBride.
I think we're all picking McBride. No offense, Will Arnett. We love you.
Yeah, all due respect. Yeah, but no.
Get this show plus NXT retro reviews, wrestling reviews, movie reviews, and so much more over at patreon.com/poisonrana. And it's only $5, so what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting
First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.
Hello. Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT. You found us at postwrestling.com, Apple Podcast, Spotify, whatever podcast app you are using right now, or
you can find us live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, YouTube room. How are you doing? What's up?
Hello, YouTube room. It is Tuesday night, 10:15 p.m. Eastern time, of course. And you know what that means. It is time to chat about some NXT. You know why?
Why?
Because we're your NXT friends.
And
we do this every Tuesday here on the Post Wrestling feed. We go live on the Post Wrestling YouTube, and then we chat about it. And today, even though it's July 30th, we're celebrating America.
Oh, yes.
It's the great
You can celebrate America any day of the week.
Pretty much.
Yeah. They do.
They celebrate it 8 days a week.
Yes.
Exactly. So Tuesdays, we're celebrating NXT, but we're celebrating the Great American Bash Night 1. And this is a two weeks in a row of bashing America. Oh, wait, no, I think that means something else. But we're going to be talking about Night 1 of the Great American Bash. And then we got Night 2 next week. So look at that. 2 weeks of America.
We do. Twice the excitement. Twice the bashing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hell yeah. So for all you Americans out there, even though the 4th of July was about like almost pretty much a month ago, we're going to celebrate by chatting about the bash.
Was the Great American Bash traditionally on the 4th of July?
I feel like it was
the old WCW ones.
July, but maybe they did it afterwards. I feel like we always joke, like, why do they do it not like close to the 4th? But you can celebrate whenever you want.
Yeah,
they don't do a Canadian bash, so
yeah. Normally, it's been end of July. It's been it hasn't been in August. This is the first one in August since
it's July
1986, where it was a tour.
Okay,
a tour of 13 shows around the South. Wow. With Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Sounds like a solid tour.
That sounds like a Great American Bash.
That's a Great American Bash for sure. What about Booker T versus Rey Mysterio? That's a Great American Bash.
I've never watched that.
Great.
That would have been around, well, let me guess, like 05? No, 07 or something like that.
06? When did Ray...
Was that the main event?
Yeah, trivia question. 2006, Great American Bash. King Booker won King of the Ring.
2006.
And then he beat Rey Mysterio, I believe.
Indianapolis.
I think because Chavo got involved or something. I could be wrong.
Right.
What a time. Yes, we're up next. We're also known as Poisonrana. You can search that in your socials or podcast app. Hit that follow, subscribe, and check out all the other shows that we do because, boy, do we podcast quite a bit. We didn't this past weekend. apologies, but it was my birthday weekend, so I took the week off, and then you were still battling with some COVID.
Yeah, I'm still not 100%, but yes. Just going to change the audio slightly. And okay, let's try this again. But yes,
we got brand new mics, and then we learned that they don't work together. Whoever made that idea?
We're trying to improve our setup. Every week we're like trying something a bit different, and got 2 new fancy mics, and which comes with this software that so you can have like multiple mics going and stuff, but doesn't let you have 2 of the same microphone.
Isn't that
the
weird?
one that provided us with this software.
So I'm not in a cave anymore.
We're trying different things. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah, we're trying.
This is exhausting. Yeah.
It's also a really hot day today. It's
Yeah.
been the Canada is melting. I just got back from the States, and it was melting there too. Like it's getting hot.
It's so humid right now.
We got fans going, we got our AC unit going, but it is hot. So happy summer. I shouldn't complain. We shouldn't complain because I'd rather sweat than like freeze.
I'd take it. I'd also take some AC.
Right.
But
yeah.
last week we still recorded a show, but had COVID. I'm still kind of got the after effects of it.
Okay.
Not 100% yet, but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
It was meant to be recording on Sunday. You as you mentioned were away in New York. But then my guest got sick as well. So unfortunately no Poisonrana this week, but we are back today.
We can chat about a lot of things. We'll chat about the Great American Bash, but there's a lot to chat about. I say that for those who haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, that you might want to skip the end of this show. Because how about at the end of the show, we give a little thoughts on that? Because we actually got to see the movie together.
Yep.
Before we went, I went away this weekend. So we'll chat about that at the end. So spoilers beware towards the end of the show. But I mean, if you haven't seen it by now, what are you even doing? What are you even doing? It's Tuesday. So maybe people went and saw it tonight. Maybe you're not listening to us live because Tuesday is a good night for movies. So I loved that movie, and I can't wait to kind of give some thoughts and open to looking up all the little Easter eggs. I might even go see it again. That's how much I love a movie. If I go see it a second time, definitely. What about like our friend listener Chris Price, who he's
probably seen it 9 times
already.
Yeah.
He saw Spider-Man like 20 times or something. So I'm sure he's gonna go see this one.
He's already done the 3P.
He's already seen it 3 times.
Yeah.
It's been like 3
days.
I
mean that was a couple of days ago.
Oh
so
my
who knows?
God. Okay. Wow. Holy shit.
I'll have to spy on him.
I loved it. I think it was like my favorite one. But I'm a Wolvie mark. I'm Canadian, So but we'll give some spoilers.
3 days ago was the 3P. So Christ, I have no idea what
I'm not bashing anyone who sees a movie multiple times, because if you really love it, like you want to take it in. But that's crazy. That's like seeing it and then getting out of the theater and then just going back into the theater the second time to go see it. But yeah, I saw a musical.
Yes,
Back to the Future, the musical.
Nice.
You were recommending this to me for quite a while. You saw it when, like a few years ago?
So it would have been 2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, in London.
Yep.
And then in 2020, it's been in New York ever since. And I'm not the most musical person, but I thought, why not? My mom never been to New York. She wanted to go to a trip to Broadway, and I thought, like, hey, it's technically my birthday, so I'm picking the musical, and it was like awesome. Like it was like watching the movie but in person. Like for those who may not know, I really love Back to the Future. Like I'm obsessed. So I was like, this is insane. Like watching it as a real feature with some of the special effects they have, the fantastic actors and singers and Huey Lewis put in there and everything. Like it was awesome. They
do such a great mix of sort of, they have like this screen, like a projector kind of screen, but it's also it's like in front of the stage at times.
Yeah.
So you can see the like real life actors behind this. And then you've got the revolve, you've got all the like animatronic kind of stuff. Like it's
crazy.
It's so impressive. And when I saw it, I was, just the DeLorean appearing in the first act. I was like, wow, that was cool.
Yeah.
And then act 2, it's like by the end of it, you're like, you're showing off now. Come on.
Yeah.
and then they're flying a car above your head. It's crazy.
It was a fantastic, and I'd recommend it for anyone who's a big fan of the movies. Like it's just incredible. So I had a great job. I also ate a lot of pizza. Shout out Artichoke as well. But my mom wanted to go to this restaurant called Patsy's in New York, and I was like, sure, Mom, whatever you want. One night we'll go. So like months ago, my girlfriend made a reservation and explained that it would be my birthday. We get there, and I didn't realize that this was Frank Sinatra's favorite personal like restaurant.
Right.
They sat us at his table.
Whoa.
Then I learned, to top that even more, that it wasn't only Frank Sinatra's table, it was Tony Danza's table.
Okay.
And to me, that's even a bigger deal because Tony Danza, he's the boss. So I had some classic Italian food, and then I had a great time in New York and kind of showing my mom around the city and stuff. So it was a fantastic little time.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I'm pizzaed out, but
I can never get bored of New York.
There's so many things to do, like incredible things to do. I'm really tired from like lots of walking and stuff, but what a city, and I definitely need to go back. But
yeah, I've like gone quite a few times. Obviously, we've been for the wrestling quite a few times. I'm trying to work out if I can go at the end of the year because flights back home are actually a lot cheaper from New York.
Okay,
so I could probably tie it in to go to Full Gear and then head home.
Oh, I'm thinking of going.
I'm thinking. And it's just accommodation. It's flights are fine. It's accommodation that hits you. But while I was off sick, I actually went through and finally got my citizenship application done.
You're going to be a Canadian.
And I got a receipt today that it's been received and being processed and stuff. So that's cool. But have to document every single time you've left Canada in like your whole time being here. So think every little road trip that we've had and stuff like that. It was a lot. So
what do they make you do to become a Canadian?
So it's to work out how many days. Like you've got to have been here. I think it's like 1,300 days on like Canadian soil.
Right.
But the working holiday visa, which I originally came on, is only worth half. So any time I've spent outside of the country doesn't count. I'm like, I've got way too many days.
Been here
like I'm fine
for years.
8 years. Yeah.
As long as they ask, is this a Scorpion Deathlock? And you go, no. Yeah, that's a sharpshooter. And then they go, okay, he's in.
So when I did my residency, I had to do a language test to prove that I can speak English, and write English. And it's like, fuck, it's the only language I know.
Yeah. Proper English.
But for the citizenship, they were just like, oh, we just need proof of a degree from a university in English. And I'm like, okay. So I've submitted that. I still feel they might go like, oh, we need your language thing. But then I went to get my language results and it's like, oh, we don't store them. So I might have to take another language test, which is ridiculous.
British person taking an English test. Okay. Wow.
But yeah, so I'll wait. It could be like 18 months or something.
Right. But
we'll have to take a Canadian citizenship test, which is 20 questions, multiple choice.
You're going to be one of us.
And you've got to get 15 of them right. I'd be curious. I'd wonder if you'd be able to pass the citizenship test.
No. I'll just say, yeah, I go to Tim Hortons. I'm Canadian. And just lie.
Yeah.
Just say that.
But yeah, it's more to do with, the way the governments run and provinces and territories and all that kind of stuff.
Interesting. But you've been one of us anyways.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
We'll get married.
And that was a blessing for COVID, was actually having the time to sit down and get this done.
Right.
But yeah, it's trying to figure out how many times have we been in New York for.
Yeah.
It's going through your Ticketmaster. Oh yeah. Went to SummerSlam. Oh yeah, we went to Buffalo for.
They're like, why did you go to North Carolina?
Did I include Buffalo? I don't know. Yeah.
They're gonna be like, what? You go to?
Why did you go to North Carolina for less than a day?
Yeah. Well, you're going to the States this weekend.
Yeah.
For SummerSlam.
Anyone who's going to be in Cleveland this weekend for SummerSlam, I will be there. I got the time off.
I'm so jealous you get to see Jelly Roll. I'm jelly you get to see Jelly Roll live in person.
Me too. I know John Pollock's really excited about
I'm a
Jelly
big
Roll.
Jelly Roll's sick, man. So I'm sure he's gonna perform the song. And
what song?
I don't even know it, but
me neither. No, I'm quite excited. I'm kind of pumped for SummerSlam now. I watched Raw last night. I think you've got a few matches on that card that I think have been built really nicely. The whole Liv and Rhea and Dom thing.
Custody of Dominic.
Yeah. Punk and Drew, I think, is in really good shape. I think they've managed to heat up Gunther v Priest pretty well in a short space of time. So I'm actually quite pumped for it. It's the Cody match I'm not too excited about, but if we get that Roman return, I think that will be that will make that match worth it. So yeah, I'm pretty excited and checking out what else we might do. Like, do I go and see Undertaker's stand-up routine?
No, you got to go see Nick Gage versus Matt Hardy.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I think quick predictions here. Let's go quick predictions. I think Gunna is taking it. Gunther taking the title from Priest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so, right? Bailey versus Nia Jax. I think Bailey retains, but Tiff might cash in.
Oh, I think Nia wins.
And then
no cash in yet.
Okay.
But then you have it's the champ and her like minion is the money in the bank.
Right. Yeah. Okay, what about Liv? Are we thinking that Dom sides? For the first time in history, a man won't side with the goth chick.
It's either Dom is turning on Rhea and going with Liv, or Finn is going with Liv.
Right.
Someone's screwing over Rhea, and Liv retains that title, which I think should happen, because I think then you can you need to get Rhea challenging one of the top people.
Right.
I think you know, start maneuvering to try and get a Rhea Bianca match or something like that by Mania time. Yeah.
Okay, what about, you mentioned Cody and Solo. I think that's a given that Cody retains, obviously. There's no way Solo's ready.
Yeah, I don't think Solo's ready.
In fact, then you could have the Roman.
Storyline-wise, it's not out of the question to put it on Solo. Like, the way the story is, to have, like, you know, Roman returning and the new tribal chief is the champion. But I think it's way too early to take that title off Cody. I think this title should be like the longer reign title, and the world heavyweight title can be more the hot potato. But it's how and why Roman returns. Does Roman return to help out Cody? Like, has Cody now earned his respect because he beat him?
I think you have a lot of shenanigans with the new bloodline.
Yeah.
Tamatonga is going to mess his spot up.
No, Tangaloa
is going to mess his. They'll all mess their spots up, and then Roman comes out and costs and helps Cody.
Jacob Fatu will look better than everyone. And will be like, why is this not the guy?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Roman will cost.
Either way, Cody retains for sure.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot more for that title run. Cleveland owned Logan Paul taking on LA Knight. I think Logan retains because it's his hometown.
I think it's LA Knight.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's about time LA Knight wins a title. Logan's kind of being like poking at that, being like, hey, you've been doing this for 20 years, and what have you got to show for yourself?
Yeah,
he's doing this for 2 minutes, and I'm the US champ. So I think it's time to put something on LA Knight and have him run with this title for a bit.
Yeah. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker, the rematch for the IC title. I think you need to pull the trigger because they didn't at SummerSlam, which was a little weird, but Braun Breaker should win.
Absolutely, Braun. I did enjoy on Raw yesterday how they managed to do a promo for Sami Zayn's stand-up show and a promo hyping up this match with Braun Breaker. Have you seen this?
No.
It's basically Braun going like, yeah, I underestimated you in Toronto, and I just thought you as a comedy guy. You know, you're doing your stand-up comedy routine. I thought it'd be easy. And, well, this time I'm prepared. I know what you're capable of. And I know you're doing the stand-up comedy routine at X Theater in Cleveland at 7 p.m. and you can get your tickets here, and you can do the barcode to get your tickets. But now I know that I'm going to beat you. I wonder if you even have, because Sammy had guests, didn't he?
Yes.
At the last one. I imagine he's doing the same
with
with this
speared.
One. I can see Braun like ending the show.
Spearing him.
Yeah. But yeah, time to strap up Braun. Weird choice not having him win it. But yeah, it's time for him to start this rampage and just be the champ.
Yeah, it's kind of been a little rocky with him coming in. And the reason I say that is because they changed his theme song to whatever the garbage it is now, which completely took away the aura of his entrance, I think. But I think he still got it.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's been. I think that was a misstep in Toronto. I think everything else presentation-wise has been pretty damn good for Breaker.
Minus the theme, though.
Minus the theme.
The old theme is good. I think
Braun Breaker. I am Braun Breaker.
As long as you can sing their name in the song, it's good. His new one.
I can't sing anything now.
Is it Deaf Rebel? It makes you go deaf. You Rebel. And then what I presume should be the main event, CM Punk in his first singles match in quite a long time, especially here in WWE, not counting a few matches. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre with Seth freaking Rollins as the guest ref.
And it's Seth's rules for this.
So
he's like, if I want to count a 10, I'll count a 10.
Yeah.
If I want to count a 20, if I want to DQ you, I will. If I don't, I'll let you hurt each other.
Seth better be wearing those booty shorts and the ref shirt. I saw the ref shirt on Raw, because he's got to dress like the part.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this. I think they've built this up really well. I think there's still a lot of, considering this started like when Punk returned, like before the Rumble even, Drew and Punk were going at it. So it's been like 7-8 months of this thing. And obviously, Punk hasn't been wrestling. He's been injured. But I think they've built it in such a way where I'm not tired of it yet. And you can definitely get more matches out of this if Punk doesn't hurt himself.
If Punk doesn't hurt himself is the question. Will he hurt himself? Because it seems like every time he's wrestled in the last few years, he's gotten injured. Yeah. So there's a high potential that happens again.
And it's going to be physical, this match.
He's got to be. So, like, how is he going to survive in this is definitely a big question. And I hope I'm not, asking for his downfall because that'd be awful. I'm hoping this match delivers and some, but there is doubt in not just me, but any wrestling fans you've been talking to lately. I think a lot of people are like, yeah, he's kind of, what's the word? Washed a little bit there. But this could be the match that proves everyone wrong, and I hope it is.
I wouldn't say. I think he's had really good matches since he's
come back in AEW, but
it's like you can't ignore the fact this guy's got hurt a lot.
Like, think he got hurt in AEW like twice, and then he got injured in his first match back in WWE, which was a bit of a wet fart. So this is definitely like all eyes are on him. This is a big thing, and the way they've treated this match is Drew's got to like kill him.
I think Drew's got to win this one.
Absolutely.
I think Drew wins this. Punk could win the feud at the end of it, but Drew, like, Punk's done more to Drew than Drew's done to Punk.
Exactly.
And Drew really needs to get this win for a bit more juice. But I just think Drew's been great. I think he's elevated himself so much from this feud that I'd kind of be into another title run with him down the line as this character.
This character, he's
working so well.
He's the top character heel in WWE right now, and that's above any champion they have or anything else. Like, he's the bad guy, essentially, or the good guy, depending on how you look at it. I mean, I don't know about you, I got a chuckle out of the photo he posted with the scapegoat.
Oh, absolutely.
And then he swiftly deleted it after a tweet delete. I wonder if that was on purpose or if someone told him to take that down. But quite interesting. So I think that's the match most people are looking forward to.
What I'm enjoying with, I mean, Punk's always had this about him, but with Drew, he seems separate from the rest of the company right now. Like, his promos are not very WWE-esque. He feels like he's just, or things like posting pictures with Jack Perry and things like that just seem kind of against the norm in WWE. Which makes him so much more compelling. And I mean, that's what Punk's always been about, isn't it? It's the shoot promos, that kind of thing.
Right.
And it's really working.
Yeah. I just hope Punk doesn't get injured, because that's like seeded doubt. Yeah. I'm like, don't get your hopes too high up there, people. But I got mixed feelings for this card, but I think it will deliver. Like, Money in the Bank, wrestling wise, it wasn't really a spectacular show, but it was entertaining, and it had all the little bells and whistles that came with it. I think the same thing's you got Jelly Roll. You're gonna be fine. It's gonna be a great show.
I think this is a show that maybe on paper doesn't look as good as it's been built. I think if you've been watching Raw and SmackDown weekly, which I have the last few weeks, mainly because I've been stuck at home sick, like, I think they've done a really good job pretty much top to bottom of actually building stories here. Whereas I think there have been other times where so many matches just seem thrown together last minute and not much cause. So I think actual sort of story and build wise has been very strong for the SummerSlam.
Well, you'll be in Cleveland, but if you're in the Toronto area or GTA area and you want to watch it with some friends, well, you can join us at Gabby's on King Street West, because this Saturday we will be hosting a SummerSlam watch party. You'll be away, but I will be there, man in the door. We're going to have SummerSlam on all the screens. We're going to have wrestling themed drinks. right? You got the drink menu.
Yeah.
We got all the specials. We got some prizes to give away. We're gonna have some trivia. It's gonna be a fun time.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I'm pushing for a Bloodline burger and a Gunther burger as well.
What the hell's a Gunther burger?
Gunther burger will
Gunther
be
burger.
It'll be like with a beer cheese sauce on
Gunther
it.
burger.
Some sauerkraut, maybe.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, or like a Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah.
Right. What else did? Yeah, that sounds pretty good. What's a Bloodline burger? A really rare burger.
Rare with a pineapple on it.
I'm about it. Yeah. All right. Interesting. Yes. Come hang out with us if you're in the Toronto area. We're gonna have a lot of fun watching SummerSlam, and it's always fun. So shout out any of our listeners who come, new and old, and we're gonna watch some SummerSlam.
Absolutely.
And maybe we'll play Jelly Roll before and after the show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, let's get into some housekeeping very quickly before we get into NXT.
You may have heard the commercial for Hot Rod, but I have to air a gripe a listener of ours has. Shout out Daniel Lloyd, who says we completely missed a key plot point in Hot Rod, especially at the very end of the movie. We both think that Hot Rod kills Frank, and we were both like, yeah, I think the guy dies or something. Daniel, I got to meet up with in New York this weekend, is like, guys, throughout the movie, he's learning the Tai Chi and he's learning how to do the move where you like touch someone to make them shit their pants.
Oh,
that's what he does at the end of the movie. And I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, did you guys even watch the movie? And he also says that for two guys who said we didn't like the movie, we definitely at least like 30 times go, this part was great. This part was great. So I think we like the movie Hot Rod. And
I did not like the movie Hot Rod, and I still like to think that he stabbed him to death with a ninja star.
He kills him at the end. He kills the guy from John Wick at the end of the movie. For anyone who loves or hates Hot Rod, this is the review for you. Shout out Brent Nichols, who picked this movie. Did I add an S to his name?
You did, yeah.
Shout out our farm boy, our cowboy, who selected this movie, and we had him on the show afterwards to chat all about it. So hear us ramble on about the Lonely Island's Hot Rod over on our Patreon. But we also just did what else did we do last week? We've done some.
Well, we recorded without recording our review of Only Fools and Horses, and then the patron vanished.
Yes. Oh yeah, Cameron, wherever you are, I hope you're okay.
Yeah,
are you alive?
Are you okay?
So oddly,
we did a massive troll job.
He's like, I want you guys to review this, and then dips. But the joke's on you. We didn't even record it.
We just had a lovely chat for an hour about a sitcom that was 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, maybe wrestling is more up your alley. Well, then we got a review for you because it's SummerSlam season. We put it to a tadpole on our Facebook group, and you all voted for SummerSlam 1994, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're going to be joined by a guest.
We are. We're going to be joined by Michael Hamflett from What Culture Wrestling, a fellow Brit, to talk all about this event. It's 30 years since this event took place. The Undertaker versus The Undertaker. Owen v. Brett in a cage. Diesel v. Razor.
And Leslie Nielsen trying to solve the case of The Undertaker throughout the entire show. I love that they got the Naked Gun tie-in there. 1994, 30 years ago. This is going to be a great show. I big fan of what culture and all that stuff. So this is going to be fantastic, chatting about Undertaker v. Undertaker and everything that comes with it.
And I can't wait for Tatanka versus Lex Luger.
I watched it today.
That sounds horrible.
I don't want to spoil anything, but there's it's fantastic.
Yes, so go over to patreon.com/PoisonRana, sign up. We've got hundreds and hundreds of shows for you to go and have a look at, all in our back catalog there. So many more things coming out over the next few months. But we've got a bunch on our free feed as well. A lot, actually, this week. Kicking off tomorrow with What Up, Doe, as B. Detroit and John Cena. I have a feeling they're going to be talking a lot about Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes.
And the Comic-Con.
Yes. I mean, that's not a spoiler.
Reveals and stuff.
That's not a spoiler. Talking about him coming back.
Yeah.
I was going to use his abbreviation. RDJ as Dr. Doom. It felt like I've watched so much wrestling. So watching the clip of him taking the mask off felt like any big reveal, like anything like that. Pretty crazy. And I'm definitely like wondering why, how, and what the hell they're gonna do with this. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's great, and I think Robert Downey Jr. can play a great bad guy. He looked evil when he took that mask off.
He did.
And if you've seen Oppenheimer, he's a bit of a bastard in that as well. So
yeah.
I'm very excited.
Rumor is 2-movie deal, 80 mil.
Wow.
What the? Of course he came back. Yeah. Do they offer you that? I like that. I haven't even watched some of the Marvel stuff. I've definitely not caught up, but that's insane. Like that's definitely getting people's attention, and people are losing their minds over it. Good and bad reactions, but either way, that's good for business. But yes, on What Up Though, I'm sure Sino and B will be talking all about Deadpool, Wolverine, and everything else going on in pop culture this month. So check out What Up Though for free on the Poisonrana feed later this week.
Sino also has a brand new episode of Shot in the Dark, which will be released on Thursday, where he'll be covering all the wrestling you may have missed in the past week. It's the Cliff Notes for the world of wrestling.
Yeah, if you don't have time to watch, Ring of Honor, Women of Wrestling, TNA, etc., Sino watches everything in 15 minutes or less and fills you in and gives his little tidbits on everything. So definitely check it out. It's only 15 minutes or less. What are you doing?
And then also this Friday, we're going to have a brand new episode of Eagles Don't Hunt Flies. And this time, the boys, Martin, Dickie, and Brandon from New Jersey are going to be talking all about the Shield versus Blue Teaster.
Yes.
Evolution versus the Shield. Some great matches, if I recall.
Love those matches.
Between these six. And always a pleasure listening to these guys.
Yeah, sounds like Dickie, Martin, and Brandon opening up a little Forbidden Door, talking to Grapple, Benno over there. That's going to be a great show. So those are some free shows over on Poisonrana. So again, search Poisonrana in your podcast app. Hit that subscribe. Check out all the other shows that we do. You're in Cleveland this weekend, so we might not be able to necessarily go live or something, but whether you do a road show, you're going to be in the car.
I'll be going with John Way and Stephanie Chase, and something will be put up on Sunday. I'd like to try and chat with you if we can to talk about our kind of different experiences, the lights, the bar.
Don't even ask him. Just hit record.
We'll get something out on Sunday.
Just on the way home, be like, guys, we're just recording the show.
Yeah.
They can't say no. You're stuck in a car with you. So we will have some thoughts.
Guys, I'm either recording or I'm snoring. It's one of the two.
Exactly. or tooting. So yes, lots and lots of shows. And if you haven't subscribed, please do check out Poisonrana.ca and at PoisonranaPod for everything else that we do. We do a lot of podcasts out there. So appreciate all the love, by the way, and appreciate all the love for people like the Purple Man, Bosch. I saw you rocking the Poisonrana button-up Hawaiian shirt with the matching shorts at Bloodsport this past weekend. Oh, man, it's so great seeing a lot of you. And then shout out Garrick. We saw at Demand Lucha. We walked into the venue to watch some wrestling. Demand Lucha, always a blast. And I saw right away someone in the crowd wearing, I was like, those look like little frogs on the shirt. And it was our boy Garrick who was rocking the shirt. And boy, did he look good rocking it. So appreciate everyone with the froggy style out there.
Yeah, and you can still get your froggy style on going to chop-tees.com and picking up yourself. As Ron put, Ron Bosch has endorsed these, the shorts in particular.
Yeah, he loves it.
Extremely comfy.
Very comfortable.
And in this sticky hot weather we're having right now, you just want your boys to be nice.
You want your little frogs.
You want them nice and airy, your tadpoles down there.
It is hot, and it's a great outfit to wear. So, definitely check it out. chop-tees.com/Poisonrana. Shout out Dickie Bird for all the great work he's been doing on the website.
Absolutely.
Looking great out there. We're all looking fresh, so good stuff.
And so is the chat room right now, as MJ Wrestling Shoot says, NXT was a fantastic show tonight. Well, shall we talk about it?
Let's talk about some NXT here tonight from July 30th, 2024, the Great American Bash, night one. And we start things off with a little cold open with Hank and Tank, and they're sneaking in to the Performance Center. They're our hosts, our unofficial hosts, but they become official hosts as they use a credit card to sneak into a building as we hear some sort of Mission Impossible type music here. Have you ever tried to use a credit card to open a door? It's not. No one.
The office door at work.
You've done
the
it.
longest time I didn't have a key, so I just jimmy it with the card.
Because I'm watching this.
Certain types of doors you can do it with. It's not like any old door.
So you're telling me if I go to the PC tomorrow, drive down to Florida, and use a credit card, I'm gonna get in?
Yeah, I guess so.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to learn how to wrestle then. So they use a credit card to get in, and they go into like this circuit room, and we see Tank go, the firewall, and Hank reminds him, no, that's drywall. And then he sees a bunch of things. They flip some switch, and the lights turn on, and the whole arena is live and loud here in the Performance Center as it's the Great American Bash. They've got, of course, all the red, white, and blue flags and everything, but they also have a barbecue grill that never came into play in this, like Hot Rod. But they also got like a picnic table and like popcorn and stuff.
It's actually both this week and next week doesn't have the silly gimmick match. Pretty much all of these NXT like Tuesday night specials has a, you've got the like plastic buckets and spades for the Bash of the Beach or whatever it is.
So next week we're getting.
I hope not, because I tend not to enjoy them. But and I thought the show was good tonight.
Like it showed a grill that's obviously not on, but it showed a picnic table, which I'm like, okay, someone's got to go through a picnic table, and that did not happen on this episode. So it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen next week.
I will say Hank and Tank is scattered throughout this show. Part of me is like, if the wrestling doesn't work out for these guys, they should do this. I thought they were excellent as kind of backstage announcers with personality and stuff. Like I like some of the people they've got, but I'd take these two over Byron.
Absolutely.
I thought they showed something tonight, actually. You
know what? And shout out Tank. It was like a handspring or something down a hallway. He just did a handstand like flipping thing, which was like, oh, I've never seen him do that. Glad Hank didn't try to do it, but maybe he's practicing. But I thought they looked good in their jackets and everything tonight.
Oh, the jackets they rock later on.
They're funny guys.
Yeah.
I like these guys. They're funny. So we stand Hank and Tank here at upNXT, especially the jacket Hank was wearing. I'm not an American, and I thought that USA jacket was nice.
Once I get my citizenship, I'll get a Canadian
one. Yeah, of course. Nice. So we start things off with a tag title match. The women's tag titles here, the WWE women's tag titles on the line. The Witches, as we call them, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, returning to NXT to face the challengers Metaphor, Jakara Jackson, and Lash Legend. And we kind of get the entrances, but then during the introductions, the Witches, those Witches attack Metaphor early on, and they jump the bell here as the match starts. Jakara beats on Alba Fire, hits a gourd buster. Love a good gourd buster. And then a tarantula super kick combo as we go to commercial break. So the Witches are in control. When we come back, though, Lash fires up, is in with Isla, and she picks up Isla Dawn in like a power slam position and uses her as a battering ram to nail Alba in the head, and then hits a choke slam, but it's only a 2 count. Alba eventually fires back. See what I did there? With a tornado DDT on Lash for a 2 count as well. But then the Witches come back. They send Lash out of the ring, and they hit Jakara with the like flatliner, double flatliner
like wheelbarrow into a cutter.
No,
this
was right before that. But
like the gory bomb flatliner.
Yeah, what a sweet looking move.
The Unholy Union.
Yeah. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah. But the Witches is a way better name. The Witches retained. The Unholy Union are still your unholy champions in this match. But a pretty fun opener. And again, like Alba and Isla, they were down here. They were both spooky, and then they got moved up. And I think they kind of got messed up when it was like Ronda and Shayna, like with their introduction.
So they merged the titles, didn't they? Yeah. And now there's only one set of titles throughout the whole roster.
So like I don't always watch these two, but I knew what they were capable of, and I'm kind of happy that they finally get time to shine. And I know they come back to NXT, but
it's been a little weird because they won the titles in Scotland. Obviously, it was a feel-good moment. They were then off TV for a little bit. I assume because Alba's mother passed away.
Yes.
So I imagine it was some personal reasons, but they still felt they wanted to give them that moment in Scotland. So they haven't defended the titles. And now you've got Jade and Bianca who are going for them and are likely going to win these titles back.
Yeah.
So this was almost like, well, we should rack up a win before they drop it back, and we can take them to NXT where, women's division's pretty good right now. I enjoyed the match. I really think Metaphor has stepped up. We saw a bit more from Jakara. I think we kind of had a complaint last week that we often just kind of see her on the apron and then do a few kicks or whatever. But I think she showed up, and Lash is someone I'm glad they didn't kind of cut the cord too early with her, because it took her a long time to improve.
Yeah,
I think, and I think they've given up on other people quicker than they have with Lash Legend.
Yeah, they think she had that talk show and it was okay, but now I think she's definitely coming into her own.
And like some of her big moves, like you don't see many women doing the choke slam and stuff like that. I think look great, and you've seen incredible strength, and she's got so much personality. So I like this team. I like the match. I do think this title's going back to Jade and Bianca. I do feel we need something, though. So whether these titles eventually come to NXT, or maybe, try Trios women's tag titles for NXT,
right.
And do it the same thing where it can be defended on Raw or SmackDown, rather than having two sets of tag titles. Maybe it's at least something a little different. And we set up later in the night that we've got a bit of a trios division going on.
Yeah.
I think you've got Damage Control, and you've got, what do they call the forehead?
The forehead.
Shayna, Sonya, and
is that their name?
And Zoe. I don't know. I don't get it.
Is that like an innuendo?
I've no idea. But you've got a bunch of these teams right now where maybe have two sets of women's trios and float them about across the three brands.
Yeah, like look, titles are props, but it helps give you stories for reasons why people want to fight to be champions. So it does kind of suck they took the NXT women's titles away, because there is teams in this show. There are more teams
in the main roster, which is
why would you be a tag team when there's no
that's
reason
the thing.
to be?
It's we have all these alliances set up, and then you go, well, for what?
Yeah,
like what's it for? Like you'd much rather you should all rather be singles competitors, so you can actually go for championships.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like they really should, in a weird way, bring them back. Like it just would make more sense to have teams.
Yeah,
in a way. I don't know if we'll ever see trios titles in WWE. I feel like they've never done it, right?
Yeah, but it's a new era.
New era.
Yeah,
trios titles. Well, after the match, Metaphor are licking their wounds, and Ora Mensa gets in the ring to console his friends when Ethan Page, the NXT champion, comes out. Very MJF here. Cut my music. He says, no 1, 2, 3s tonight, as that clearly sets the crowd up to do the 1, 2, 3 chants, the new 1, 2, 3 kid, Ora Mensa. And he goes in the ring. He says, you're not going to do that ever again. And I know you have our match with you next week, but it's not going to happen. As he gets in the ring, and what happens to poor Ethan Page? He gets rolled up again for the 1, 2, 3 as the crowd chant. And this time he's even more furious. Like, no, that shouldn't have happened. That didn't count. And Ora says, I'll see you later to sign the contract tonight. So a nice little way to weave in this storyline, because Ora is part of the Metaphor.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I'm liking how the 1, 2, 3 thing.
It's been a fun thing, and it's definitely elevated Ora as well.
For sure. We go backstage earlier today. The learning chair, as we call it, Sean Spears. He's dropped the vest.
Oh yeah.
He's got now like a weird bad guy supervillain coat with like his logo embroidered on the side. He's talking to all these young chairs here.
No, he's not. Cedric is.
Oh, Cedric is the one talking.
Alexander is. Yeah.
He comes in to be like, hey, you should, instead of listening to this guy, you should be listening to me, the learning chair, because look what I've done for these young people. Look what I've done for Brooks Jensen. I made a difference in his life, and now he's winning matches. And I do the same for you, Cedric, but some people are just a lost cause. Cedric gets a little upset at this and goes, oh, yeah, I'm not a weak-minded person like your boy Brooks. And this is when Brooks comes in and he's all fired up like, oh, weak? Yeah, well, we can talk about weak tonight, which sets up a match a little bit later on. So
I kind of like they addressed this, because last week I said Cedric is essentially doing the same thing.
Right.
And I thought it was quite like good that Spears here is like, hey, why are you giving an advice? You tried with Trick and he beat you, so shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to that match.
I like Brooks's anger though.
I like the
good.
mean. I like the mean, aggressive outsider, the stranger, Brooks Jensen. We see Hank rocking the beautiful American flag suit jacket. He's with the no quarter catch crew. He's doing his best Mean Gene here. Like, I'm here with the no quarter catch crew. And there all looking at him like, who the fuck's this guy? Why is he talking to us like this? And Tank comes in kind of like standing by. And they mentioned that the no quarter catch crew got a match tonight for the cup. And that there's a chance that Tavion wins it. And they're like, we don't really want to talk to you. But great jackets.
Yeah, Tavion tying it in with the Olympics, which is obviously going on right now, and all his accolades. I think Olympic bronze, gold in the world, and
Pan Am, and all sorts of stuff. Also bigs up his opponent Tony and says that he's no slouch when it comes to wrestling. I believe it was University of Buffalo. He said he wrestled Tony.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. We've learned that before. He's talked about it before.
I know he's done wrestling. I didn't realize it was as close as Buffalo.
The University of Italy.
Yeah. No mention that he's heading off to the N1.
Yes,
in a few days.
No mention of how they murdered Damon Kemp.
No.
Yeah, but they shouldn't, because that'll just incriminate them. Have you been watching any of the Olympics?
I've had it on at work. I've seen bits and bobs. Yeah.
I was in New York this weekend, and like everywhere had giant screens set up and parks and stuff. People were like watching and stuff. So I watched some, but there's this. I don't know what basketball game it was, but it was like Team Japan versus like Team something else. There was size differences between certain people that were like, I thought it was photoshopped. I was like, no, that can't be real. This is not real. Like, insane.
It was I watched the women's rugby as well. Okay. Which was similar because it was like, I had no idea China had a women's rugby team. And, rugby players tend to be a little bigger. And against New Zealand, it's just like
exactly.
Oh boy,
you're like, whoa, crushed. There's a big size difference there. France versus Japan, that's what it was. Okay. I was like, is this like AI? Is this Photoshop? This is not like both of these people are human beings, and one of them looks like he ate one of the other ones.
Right.
Oh
yeah. Okay, I'm looking at pictures now.
Just Google France versus Japan basketball Olympics 2024 and see what I'm talking about. I'm not crazy.
It's like
thank you, Job Nobly in the chat.
The basketball episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, I don't know it.
If you know, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't watched a lot, but I like checking out. Like they're adding some weird things. There's like shooting. There's like
shooting's always been a thing.
But like guns.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Only I guess America will
play pigeon, don't you, and all that.
That's crazy. I think they're adding breakdancing.
Okay.
But they wanted to get rid of wrestling.
That you can't get rid of. No, I think they wanted to get rid of. There's Greco-Roman and there's freestyle, I believe, and I think they wanted to get rid of Greco-Roman. Like it's more restricted with what you can do.
Pro wrestling?
I think you should have pro wrestling.
I don't know. What about like MMA?
Jericho's always been advocating for it.
He's always like, oh, why not? It's
no. I mean, I get his point. Right. It's not. It wouldn't be like USA versus Canada in a wrestling match. It would be 2 USA wrestlers against each other, and you have 3 minutes. It's just like doing a ice skating routine or a gymnast routine or stuff like that. You get points for, how well moves are executed and that kind of thing. Like it's a judge thing, just like diving or whatever.
Yeah, because I was in a sick pinball bar, and I realized they had a giant screen on, and people kept coming into the bar to file in and watch the Olympics, and I'm just there like playing pinball, and it was the Simone Biles girl, right? And she does this incredible flip, and I'm like, oh, it looks like wrestling. Like looks like Ospreay doing a Ricochet doing a 630 or something. So I'm not saying wrestling should be in the Olympics, but there's a lot of other stuff that really isn't like real. I don't know. Not real.
Yeah, I mean, it's how like judge-based stuff. It's so subjective.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Exactly.
Like, and sure, you stumble or you're diving and you leave a big splash. Yeah, you get points.
So
but like if 2 people do a routine of equal difficulty perfectly, like how do you judge that?
So Canada would get gold medals because we got Kenny Omega, but USA's got Danielson. British people, you've got Ospreay. It's a tough one. That'd be your 3 right there, though, at the podium. No matter what, those are the 3. If you had to,
and you'd have difficulty levels, like you know, if you're just doing like a Boston Crab, it's like, well, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
If you're doing a double moon, it's higher difficulty.
Doing a one-winged angel reversal,
Tiger Driver 98,
Poisonrana.
Yeah.
No, the Tiger Driver
91.
It's banned.
Yeah.
They're not allowed.
Gold medal match, and Ospreay just can't do it.
Can't do
I
it.
can't do it.
And then he loses. He's silver.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what would happen. Did you see the diver guy who just ate shit?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to make fun of the guy, but like, oh man, like I could do that. This guy does like so many backflip, front flips, and then just splash. I'm like, I do that all the time. Okay, I don't do the flips, but I know how to do that.
You could break your neck, surely.
Haven't you ever tried doing a moonsault in the pool?
I can do
It's
450s. I can
when
go,
you going
forward.
Yeah.
Flip. Backwards, I coffin drop. I
can
jerk
can
my
do,
head, and I'm trying to go back, and I just coffin drop.
I can do swantons and 450s, but I kind of do the Kurt Angle 450 really. But I can't do a moonsault.
To say this, I don't know the last time I went to a pool.
I've done it. I've done it this summer.
I haven't been to a pool for a long time.
Like one of the Toronto pools got like a really high jumping board, like it's for Olympic training and stuff like that. And you see people do some pretty impressive stuff sometimes, and then you just see kids like eat shit. I've been off a pretty high board before, or into a lake as well in Austria. That was pretty cool. Oh,
but it's when you it doesn't look as high when you're on the bottom, and then you go up and you're like,
Mr. Bean.
Nope. That's my local swimming pool.
Yeah, you told me.
Mr. Bean one.
I always think of that.
Nope.
He's scared. Anyways, that's our Olympic coverage.
Yeah.
Were we worse or better than Snoop Dogg?
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I think it's amazing that they've got him and Michael Phelps did a swimming thing this week, which is just hilarious considering Michael Phelps, gold medal swimmer, got like how ridiculed was that dude because he got caught nowhere near, like way after the Olympics, smoking a joint, and people were like, "Oh, he should be canceled." And look where society is now. That Snoop Dogg is hosting. So funny. Anyways,
most decorated athlete of all time.
Imagine there was is he really?
Yeah,
because he's got all these.
It's like 28, I think, or something like that.
Because he's smoking that good shit. That's why. Kids never give up on your dreams. Anyways, back to NXT.
Oh yeah,
someone who should win a gold medal one day, Peter Dunne. There's a little video package here. He's angry. Mean Pete is always mean. He says, Trick, why are you upset at me that I attacked you last week? Is that what's wrong? Well, grown men can't handle a setback. Is that what's happening, Trick? He goes, I'm young and bitter. And I think he's trying to push this young ex bitter.
Young and bitter.
Yeah, young.
Like that was the name of his old theme tune.
Oh,
Young
okay.
And bitter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I know he's been hanging out and he opened the school with GYV, so he's really loving abbreviations. So young and bitter here. He says, I've been through a lot here in WWE. I got stuck with a terrible nickname that Sheamus gave me. He pretty much blamed Sheamus for naming him Butch. And then he was just front row seat to the Sheamus show. And he goes, I've been through that, but I came out of it. And you know what? I'm angry. So next week, Trick, I'm going to teach you a painful lesson. And then he does the famous Pete Dunne shrug. And he goes, I'm going to force you to figure it out.
Yeah, it seems like this might be his new catchphrase as well. He said it last week to Trick.
Yeah.
Like, figure it out.
Figure it out.
I find this kind of interesting that this video was on NXT, and I wonder if we're going to see either in a promo or a similar kind of video on Raw. Because he's been feuding with Sheamus. He's been attacking him. We haven't really known why. He hasn't given any explanation. So for the explanation to be on NXT was kind of interesting to me. I like it. I think it all makes perfect sense. It's like, I moved up to main roster. I thought we had all these big things, and then I get called Butch, and I'm the lackey for Sheamus.
Yeah.
So I like when everything's justified for a heel turn, and I thought this kind of summed up everything pretty well.
So next week we get Pete Dunne versus Trick, Great American Bash Night 2. But yeah, it's weird because this guy's had a lot of stop starts. He was called Butch. I kind of felt like he's a very talented wrestler. I really do like this guy. So you know what? If this is somewhat of a reset for him, I'm kind of down because I was wondering about him for a while. Like, what's he kind of doing?
I feel he's had it better than others. Like to be able to get up on the main roster, and yes, he got given a terrible gimmick, but on the flip side, was in a pretty popular group in the Brawling Brutes, and had those matches with Imperium and that kind of thing. Had his moments. I'd rather be in a position that Pete Dunne's been, where he has consistently been on TV, like since he moved to the States, really.
Yeah.
On whether it's NXT, Raw, SmackDown, or whatever, and now can start to break through that a bit more. I'd much rather be that than a Cedric Alexander who disappears for an entire year and then is back in NXT trying to rehab himself.
Yeah.
I think Triple H and Shawn are big fans of Pete Dunne as well. So I think we're starting to see it, and we're getting him twice a week now, which is in a story.
And I'm looking forward to Pete Dunne and Trick. I think Trick could learn a lot from. He might get his fingers broken, but he's going to learn a lot from Pete Dunne. Shout out 1/3 of the other 1/3 of British Strong Style we saw last week at Demand Lucha. Trent Seven.
Oh, Trent.
Shout out Stallion Kid, who's just become one of our absolute local favorites here in Toronto, Canada, Ontario, whatever it is. But Demand Lucha, always a riot. But Stallion Kid and Trent Seven was pretty. That was a surprise match.
Yeah, that was good.
It was pretty good.
Decent.
Yeah, he did a lot of Pete Dunne moves, Tyler moves.
Yeah,
he was good. We go to our next match, and it is the Heritage Cup match. The champ Tony D'Angelo and the family against Tavion and his family. Round one, we get a pretty even back and forth. They keep doing the same moves, like a headlock takedown from one of them and then reverse. And then the one guy does the drop down on the next one. So they were like really at each other's ends here as Tony finally locks in a leg lock, but Tavion is saved by the bell as it goes. So they kind of clear here. And we get Miles in the corner rocking a very Kanye West inspired pink polo. And he's in his face like, come on, get up. And we hear Ren Sinclair as the camera cuts to the crowd. And she's in the crowd and she's like hyping them up, like, yes, go, as round two starts. But we go into break as kind of round two is we come back as round two's like just ending. So we completely missed like all of round two except a superplex.
What pisses me off is we watch this on the network, right?
Yeah.
And Vic Joseph keeps on saying, you won't miss any of the action because he's cutting to picture in picture.
Right.
The network should just have it.
It's weird because
instead I'm having commercials that are 3 years old with people praising Vince McMahon. It's really bizarre.
Yeah. And then the flip side, when we watched Dynamite, like blood and guts on Fight, we got the match completely. And then I saw criticism like you didn't get everything on the broadcast. I'm like, oh, for us, we got to see everything.
Blood and guts, you got a completely different match if you watch it on Fight.
Yeah. So bizarre. Just like we have the network. Again, we're watching it through. We're in Canada, but so maybe when the Netflix thing. Oh no, yeah, for us it'll be Netflix, but the States it'll be CW. So we should
I wonder what happens.
We should get picture in picture.
I would hope so. Yeah,
we didn't for this. So it's still 0-0, and then Ren comes in the ring, shoves Miles out of the way, and gets in Tavion's face and starts like hyping him up, and then slaps him a couple times, and he gets amped up. So round three kicks off, and this is where he comes in there. Sorry, I think this was right before that. Apologies. Right before that in round three, the match starts and it's Tony who hits the forget about it. So now it's 1-0. So Tavion is upset about this. And this is when Ren comes in and slaps him. Round four starts and right away he attacks Tony and hits this running belly to belly, which I always gave to my guy in the video games, and crushes him with it and gets the 1-2-3. So now it's 1-1. As we go into round five. So Ren Sinclair really got him hyped up here. Maybe she should manage him in the N1. Hopefully.
I think so, yeah.
Get him hyped. Round five, this is when Tony comes back, though. He realizes it's up to him to retain. He hits a belly of his own and then a huge spine buster for the 1-2-3. So unfortunately, Ren couldn't get Tavion the win.
Had a little bit on the outside as well with kind of Miles, I think it was, going to Charlie like, look, we should maybe let her in.
Yeah.
She fired him up there and Charlie just looking really
like, no.
Unhappy about it. Not bad. Just two guys throwing each other around pretty much. Continue to enjoy the Ren Sinclair addition to NQCC. I think Tavion Heights has looked very impressive in the matches we've had. Part of me was like, he should win this thing and take it and defend it in the N1 or whatever.
Yeah.
But not bad.
Yeah. I didn't think it was like one of the better ones, but these two clearly have wrestling skill and they got to show it off a little bit here. And we've seen a lot from Tony and he's been great in this cup kind of stipulation, but Tavion is someone to definitely watch. Like we've seen some bits and pieces and definitely will check out some of these N1 matches because I think they've got something. I like this whole group, the NQCC. Like we've made fun of them for a while with their name and stuff, but they've really like this is what developmental is for. And we're seeing firsthand week by week of Charlie Dempsey. Okay, he came in, great wrestler, but wasn't the best like talker, didn't have quite an aura presence about him. Now I'd say he's got comedy chops just like his papa. He's clearly like feels way more comfortable on screen. And you can say the same thing about Miles. He came in like, okay, this kid can wrestle, but now I think he's kind of become pretty, again, funny, can show personality. The same with Ren Sinclair, even though she's only in the group, technically not even in the group. Already, it's the most interesting thing she's done since being here. And same with Tavion. So really, this group is working. Unfortunately for Damon Kemp, he got murdered, so it didn't work out for him. But these are some of my favorite guys, and I hope it really works out for them in WWE. Especially all of them. They're great. We go to our next match set up from earlier. We see the entrance for Brooks Jensen rocking a Jimmy Rave t-shirt with his Raven gear. I'm loving this new Brooks Jensen, mostly because he wrestles in Chucks. Yeah. What a guy. Love it. Cedric, we come back from break and Cedric doesn't even get an entrance. The match is just already, I don't recall them ever doing this where they just come back from break and the match is on.
They have.
I guess timing here. Yeah. So the match is already in progress.
I'd rather skip an entrance and fit in more, to be honest.
For sure.
Cedric lost his cool theme, so.
Oh, right. Yeah, true. Brooks gets in control here. There's a tope from Cedric early on, but Brooks gets control. He puts him in a tree of woe and hits this running elbow to him, which looked pretty nasty. Cedric comes back with a German for a 2 count and then a nice-looking Michu driver. He hits one of the best Michinoku drivers. Brooks comes back, though, drops him and hits a leg drop off the top. Matt Hardy-esque here. Looks pretty good. And then he sets Cedric on the outside onto the table. Now, we've seen him do this quite a few times now, the like RVD leg drop to the table. But as he goes for this, Cedric gets out of the way and scouts it, I guess proving that he is the vet here in this storyline. And Brooks just eats this. Like his whole body hits this table, crumbles to it. His back, his ass, his leg look like it really hurt. He gets rolled into the ring and Cedric hits the lumbar check and pins Brooke 1, 2, 3, and then looks over at Sean Spears, who has wandered out ringside with his fancy new jacket. He just can't get a jacket that I take him seriously, and I don't know what it is. There's
something about every time he tries something, it looks like he's trying something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Bless
him.
Like
if I went out and met you somewhere and I was wearing a fedora, you know, you'd be like, you're wearing a fedora. And I was like, I know I look stupid in it. And I get that. Like everything he tries, he does the mohawk. It looks fucking stupid. Do you remember when he wore like purple contact lenses? Yeah. Looked fucking
Remember
stupid.
When he really loved chairs?
Remember when he had, what's his name? Tully Blanchard on his underwear.
Oh, yeah. He's tried some weird things.
He's tried
just wear normal clothes, and I think he'd look fine. I know he's a good-looking dude. I don't understand why he's got to dress like all weird all the time. But
yeah.
Anyways, it's unfortunate that Brooks takes the L on kind of such a upswing of his like career right now, but it's for the story for Cedric and Sean Spears to kind of beef. But
yeah, I kind of feel with Brooks winning just last week against Briggs.
Yeah.
He did, right?
Yeah.
I felt you should continue that momentum. I get you didn't necessarily want Cedric to lose twice in a row because then it just makes him look like, you know, jobber for everyone. But I therefore maybe wouldn't have done this match.
Yeah,
I think it kind of stalled Brooks's momentum he's been having. And a Cedric Alexander versus Sean Spears match in developmental isn't really exciting.
Kind of strange. They're two vets. Yeah. So. I've been loving Brooks, and he still looked really good in this match. My only critique is like he should have won because the story is he's like even if Sean Spears helped him win, like the right way, the right way is
and
me
then you
cheating.
Can get to that match with Sean. And Cedric.
Exactly. Yeah, but either way, Brooks looking good, and that's the main story for me. So we love you, Brooks. We see a video package for Javon Evans, and he's talking about how excited he is to be here in WWE NXT. He says his first memories of wrestling is when he used to watch it with his family. He mentions his dad was a Booker T fan. Shout out Booker. He then says things were rough for him growing up. His parents split, and he grew up watching a lot more wrestling, just like us all. Growing up watching wrestling. TV is our parents. He says he got to see people like Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam jumping off things and jumping out the ring and everything. So he would go to his neighbor's trampoline and start jumping off the trampoline and doing wrestling moves, and thought, what if I do this not just in a trampoline? And then he says what most of us wrestling fans went through. He says he's not proud to say it, and maybe it was wrong. Maybe he can't say it, but he used to tell his teacher, just suck it, as he does the crotch chop.
Oh, yeah. I remember being 10 telling people to suck my dick. It's like...
Yeah, and just blame DX.
And I wondered why my parents didn't want me watching it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this was kind of just a little like insight video to who he is as a person.
I think this guy comes across so well. He's so likable. Whenever he's spoken, he hasn't sounded scripted at all. He sounds very natural.
Yeah,
I think. I like this. I think he is kind of in that position Roxanne was in the first year, which there's only so much I can hear about you being young and growing up,
right.
And which is fine. He will evolve on from that, and it's okay for now. Found it interesting that he mentioned Jeff Hardy and RVD, both who are not in the company right now.
They did that with Roxanne, though. Remember, Punk wasn't in the company. She's talking about Punk. She's talking about AJ Lee, and he wasn't even back yet at all. So it's fine. It's different now. They're not just letting you like.
I mean, Jeff's in TNA, I guess, isn't he? So.
Yeah. We saw him making some comments about he's gonna make sure it doesn't screw up with TNA.
Yeah,
but
yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like, dude.
Yeah. WWE and AEW, yeah, I can fuck around with them. TNA, however, no.
Yeah.
They have my respect.
I thought it was cool that he referenced that, and he does come across very likable, and I mean he's already 20 years old, something like that, and amazing in the ring.
Great.
So I have a feeling this WWE has a star on their hands with Javon Evans.
Yeah,
100%. We go to our next segment. Smoke them if you got them, because NXT, we're going to the Treehouse. Is this the first time a legit full Treehouse? We've had the fake Treehouse because we haven't had all three of them.
Yeah, they never called it the Treehouse when it was MSK. They just had little skits. I remember them on park benches and things like that. Right. But no, not this is just like a void, isn't it? A dark room.
So the Treehouse was pretty much that 70s show when they're in the basement, in the same way the camera cuts and then like they're all having a sesh, right? So this way it's got the laugh track and everything, and they go, wait, it's the three of them sit down, Zachary Wentz and Wesley, and they're like, wait, it's a Tuesday. Why are we doing this on a Tuesday? And they go, because it's a treehouse. And Trey says, yeah, it's a magic treehouse. And Wes is like, a magic? He goes, yeah, it's magic as hell. Look at us. We're all here right now. And Trey goes, hey, don't you think we should celebrate with a little, And Wes goes, no. It's a little PG around here. And they go, oh, okay. Well, I can't. Wentz says, I can't stop smiling. I can't believe the three of us are back together, and I can't believe we're back here in NXT WWE. And says, hey, look at us. Last week, we pinned the tag team champions. I pinned Axiom, which means we never lost the titles. Maybe we should get a shot at them. And Wes says, you know what? Maybe I'll text them right now and see if they're up for putting those tag titles on the line. And he goes, great, good idea. And then maybe we'll get this tag title match. Well, while we're waiting for a reply, and then they kind of all look at the camera, and then they all cover the camera because they're gonna smoke some weed.
Yeah.
You can't help but smile at these guys, like the stuff that the three of them never got to WWE. Then the two of them had success, and then Zachary was gone, and then now they're all back. And yeah, I'm happy for these guys.
I'm loving it. It was cool seeing the Treehouse in, like, as far as I was concerned, it was exactly how they do it in TNA. Like the fake laughter, it looked the same. Yeah, they didn't really change it up at all.
No, usually they do it more like that 70s show where it's like it's black behind them because they're like it's supposed to be like in a basement smoking weed. But here it looked like they were just like in a room with lights. It looked kind of like they were.
Oh, I thought it was a black room.
This one looked like they were sitting down in like a room somewhere. It's still great, but they need to step it up. I need to see them in an actual treehouse next time.
Right.
Some find a treehouse in Florida. Go to Universal Studios or somewhere and film in an actual treehouse and get RVD, get Jeff. No, don't get Jeff Hardy, but we did Matt Riddle, right? He was the shaman. I'm trying to think of other famous weed smoking wrestlers. But anyways, I think it's great that these three are back. And spoiler alert that we do get the match next week, which doesn't matter what else is on next week. Axiom and Frazier versus MSK / Rascals next week for the tag titles. it's a free show, but take my money. That is going to absolutely bang. Like,
yes.
holy shit.
Yeah, really excited for that. I'd like to see Trey do some singles stuff as well.
Sure. Yeah.
In NXT. But yeah, I
give them the titles.
I think absolutely they should take the titles here. Have it defended in TNA, have it defended on NXT.
They mentioned we could defend. Wentz mentions if we win these, we could be defending them on 2 different companies, which is insane.
Absolutely. And I think as well, it's time for Axiom and Fraser to split up as well.
Yeah.
They've been teasing that. It's the time, and absolutely go with these guys. It's such a good story. It's such a hot thing in NXT right now. Go with them.
I think the Treehouse needs Snoop Dogg and Michael Phelps next
Fair
time.
enough. Yeah.
We go to, oh boy, another TNA crossover. The first ever Joe Hendry concert in the WWE. We see Joe Hendry make his way. He's in the ring. He's got his guitar. He's got a microphone, and he's going to sing. He says he's so blessed to be here in WWE. It's the first time I get to do a concert in WWE. And he goes, I got a song for you guys to hear, and everyone's going to love it. So he sings a song. And I love it's like the Rock concert.
Yeah.
Like anytime as a wrestler singing, I'm a pretty big fan. And I feel like this guy has blown up through the internet wrestling social media world, because since this guy kind of blew up in the past few months, so many people are finding and digging his old stuff from different indie feds and everything. And this is kind of a rehash of one of the ones he's done. Shout out Chris Elliott, who sent us the original, but he kind of reuses the same format here for one of his older songs. And he sings. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but he goes, Joe Hendry makes things better, so much to see. He loves everyone here in NXT. He's got chefs in the kitchen, and he's got a biggest fan from Scotland is Booker T. And then on the screen, it shows like a Scottish mountain and Booker T photoshopped in a Scottish kilt. Love it, because the story is Booker T is not a fan of this guy. Great stuff. He then starts singing about Joe Coffey. He goes, he might be Scottish, but someone's got to check his lineage, because he looks a bit like Dutch Mantel. And it kind of shows a side-by-side comparison. I think he's referring to the
big mustache,
swirly stash there. He goes, if you hate Gallus, then wave your hands in the air. They should be deported for having awful facial hair. And then he redoes that part and gets everyone in the crowd to clap, as it's more of a cappella here. And he repeats that they have bad facial hair. And then he goes, thank you everyone for being here for my song. But I think it's time for an encore. I'm going to sing a song you all know the lyrics to, teasing he's going to sing his theme song. But he's interrupted as Gallus come out here. They're very upset, and they call him a one-trick pony. And they say, you shouldn't be here in NXT. And we're going to make sure you won't ever come back, as they put the boots to him. They beat him down. And unlike Jeff Jarrett, they hit him with a guitar that he was actually just playing.
Yeah.
This guy was legit playing the guitar. So they busted over, not his head, but over his back. And they leave him laying here. And poor Joe Hendry, his concert cut to a quick finish.
What'd you think of the song?
Great song, considering it's the first time, but I know that he's got other digs.
Yes.
It kind of felt like a free version of a concert.
It felt a little safe.
It felt like, let's not go over the top.
Yeah.
Let's not say anything too, silly or risque or whatever. Because he's usually got some bars. And
I was expecting some more zingers.
Some
here.
daggers.
I'm not saying necessarily be controversial or push boundaries, but
yeah.
I don't know. I didn't think it wasn't filled with jokes.
Yeah. I feel like
you could have had a few more.
I feel like if we do get another one sometime soon, it should be a bit more like, a bit more mean. Not mean. What's the word? Like
I feel the stuff for Top Dollar's been a little harsher,
Yes. Any of his old stuff, the Drew stuff in the past, like any of the stuff he's done, really. But I'm not saying he needs to be Max Caster.
No.
And just say things for the controversy.
Yeah.
But I thought it was just playing a little safe, like you said. So this sets up the match next week. I guess I'll just go to this part here, because later on, Joe is being interviewed after being beat up, and he says, next week there won't be any singing, but it's Joe versus Joe. And Gallus have been driven by jealousy, and Joe Coffey's been at the wheel. And next week I'm going to beat him. So Joe v. Joe next week.
I think Joe will win.
Yeah, Joe will win. We go to our hosts here, Hank and Tank. They're with Roxanne Perez. They mentioned that she's got a big title match later tonight in our main event, but they go, hey, Roxanne, you want to play this game with us? It's a game where we see how many of these, referring to Post-it notes, that we can stick on your head. And she's like, what? And they go, watch. Tank will do it first. So they give Tank a bunch of Post-it notes, and they see how many he can stick on his head. He, quite frankly, does not get many to stick on his head.
No, he's a sweaty guy.
Yeah, I guess. And she's watching them in disgust and says, you guys are a bunch of morons, and I need to be focused about my title match instead of talking to you two losers. When Jada Parker just walks by ever so slightly for her match next and says, yeah, well, maybe you won't be champ after tonight. And then Hank and Tank go, ooh. Yeah. How many Post-it notes do you think you could stick on your head?
Right now, none.
How many Post-it notes do you think the forehead could stick on there?
Why are they called that?
Is this
I heard Zelina say it and thought it was some insult, and I believe their team name is called the Forehead.
But there's 3 of them. Yeah. I don't know how many Post-it notes I could stick on my head, but
I typed in WWE forehead, and then I just got pictures of like loads of like blade job forehead, like the wrinkles.
Yeah, like Dusty Rhodes forehead.
Did I make that up?
You may have. I don't know. I'm gonna go with it because better than a 5 head. But how many do you think you could put? How many Post-it notes do you think you could stick on your head?
My forehead's so sweaty right now.
Yeah.
Well, in general, if like stickiness was
like we've done Chubby Bunny, which is how many marshmallows you can fit in your mouth. Remember Brandon from New Jersey almost died live on a stream?
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much the equivalent.
Like,
what other silly games are like these? I'm not opposed to this game.
8. I reckon I'd fit 8 on my head.
Okay.
Just on the forehead, yeah?
Just on your forehead? I don't know. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Well, you think the sticky bit's only like that big. So that, and then 2.
I could do a lot.
And then 3. Yeah, I'd get
my
8
bald head could have like 100 of them.
No, but you said just forehead.
Oh, it's just forehead.
I thought that's what you said.
Yeah. Okay.
We need to clarify the rules here.
Hank and Tank, we challenge you to a Post-it.
Frank, put your title on the line.
In a Post-it note.
Frank could fit a lot on
Hank,
head.
Tank, and Frank. Yeah, I love these silly games. And if anyone's got any more like Post-it or Chubby Bunny, please let us know for future upNXT Mania. We haven't done one in a while, but Frank just doesn't put the title on the line. He's a selfish champion.
Yeah.
We go to our.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out this forehead thing.
Oh my god, are they actually called it?
I think it's just what Zelina called them.
Okay,
right. Fuck it, they're foreheads.
3 of them. It's better than some of the names I've seen on Twitter.
Weren't there 4 of the 3 Musketeers?
Yeah.
So.
Which is Leo? What's the one with Leonardo DiCaprio, the Man in the Mask?
Titanic.
Yeah. Sick. We go to the contract signing. This one's not taking place in the ring. This is in Ava's office. Ethan Page and Oro Mensah. Ethan sits down. Oro's across from him, and Oro says, look, I've been chasing your goofy ass for too many weeks. He goes, you put my friend Noam Dar on the shelf, and I wanted to get revenge, and then somehow you became champion, so I'm going to get one up on you even more, and I'm going to take that title from me, and I'm going to pin you 1, 2, and Ethan's like, no, stop the counting. And Oro says that he's the kid that never fit in, but next week that title is going to fit perfectly around the main man's waist. So the contract is signed next week. Ethan Page, Oro Mensah, NXT title on the line.
Yeah, I don't see Page dropping this title, but I think they've built this quite nicely for a TV match.
Yeah.
Oro's definitely got over here. I do think I have a bit of a worry of Page being a bit too comedy. And I think he could be taken a bit more seriously as a champion. So maybe after this defense next week, I'd like to see him lean more into that.
Right. I think it's funny getting this 1, 2, 3 thing over, though.
Yeah.
That's definitely why they've been doing it. And it clearly has worked. So 1, 2, 3 kid, Oro Mensah. I don't think he's winning, but I think he could put on a pretty good match.
Yeah.
Hopefully it is. We go to our next match, Kendall Gray versus Jada Parker. We got Jada coming out with OTM, and we got Kendall Gray coming out with Carly Bright. Is that her name? I'm gonna
believe
They
so.
kind of look similar, but also not at the same time. We get some good takedowns actually from Kendall Gray. She's the one that did the takedown to Miles last week.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet. So we're seeing a lot of like wrestling holds and submission attempts from her. Eventually, Jada grounds her and starts doing this like almost abdominal stretch, wrenching on the neck and the arm here. This is when Kendall comes back with a neck breaker, and Miles Bourne walks out, and Ren's kind of chasing him. And it seems Miles is upset, so he starts talking to Carly like, "Oh, I'm mad at her for suplexing me last week." And this is when Kendall leaves the ring and then suplexes him again. Belly to belly is Miles ringside, and then goes back in the ring, hits this sweet looking, almost like an angle slam back suplex on Jada, which was pretty nice.
She kind of did the like wrist control pull up into it as well.
Very
I thought
Trick does something similar.
it looked really nice.
But it's not enough to keep Jada down. Jada comes back with the like hip attack in the corner that she sets her up.
It's the teardrop.
Yeah. And then the gourd buster again. Love a nice gourd buster. And then the hypnotic. Okay, 10 out of 10 for the name of the move, but a minus 10 for the actual move. I think Jada Parker is pretty good from what we've seen, but the finisher is gotta be. Tell me a worse finisher in wrestling currently. It's this move.
It's the worst.
She runs the ropes and hits you with her bum.
It's about as terrible as that move Lexis King does, where he just runs and stops behind you. But at least he doesn't finish.
Yeah, at least he doesn't finish with it, right?
Yeah,
that's true. That move is pretty awful. But this one has to be the worst move. Again, not knocking Jada, not even knocking Kendall. I thought they had a good, little wrestling match here, but that finish is my least favorite in wrestling. I can't even think, like, all across different wrestling shows we watch, that is the worst finishing move. Even worse than the overdrive. Fuck it, Jada, do the overdrive, please.
I actually was pretty impressed with Kendall Gray here. Kind of, in a sense, reminded me of Layla Hirsch. Like quite undersized, but pulling off some really nice kind of suplexes and wrestling style moves. She impressed me. I haven't really seen much of her yet. I think the week she was on was the week you covered with Sino. I was impressed with her. Jada Parker has something. She's not connecting with me in ring yet. And things like this, the stupid finish don't help. But character-wise, definitely got it. Want to see her start stepping up a bit in ring, because it's been kind of the same every match, I feel, for her.
At Poisonrana Pod, tell me the worst finishers in wrestling history. What was that? Was it Byron's move? When Byron wrestled,
Percy.
Percy
had a weird move.
Yeah, this the first season of NXT with all those guys. They all had. Heath had a weird move. All those like NXT guys had really bad moves
as well. What, the hyperdrive, Mojo Rawley?
Hyperdrive might even be better than this move, though.
I think it is. I think you're right.
I think hyperdrive is better than this move. At least that's the squashing him, right?
Percy's where he jumps. He like jumps around.
I can't remember. Like the fucking worm is better than all these moves.
The worm's great.
Yeah. I'm sorry. At Poisonrana,
I just found a video top 10 moves of Percy Watson.
There's 10 moves he did. I don't even know if he had 10 matches.
Okay,
that's wild. Percy, oh my god! No, I'm interested now. I need to know the worst wrestling finishers of all time. Not the worst moves, the worst finishers of all time. Please let me know. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear your take and tell me why it's not as bad as the Hypnotic. But the name is great. So
okay, I'm finding Byron wrestling.
Yeah, Byron wrestling is super weird. What is it? Okay. Yes, it is. Look, that is the worst. I told you it's Byron. Yeah, it's Byron.
It's okay. So he's going for like the skull crushing finale.
Okay, everyone Google this move,
right? And it's like, skull crushing finale setup. It's like you pull them back,
like
you're gonna slam their face, the stroke, and it's like you're gonna go that way. Nah, actually, you're going this way, and just throws him back.
It looks so bad. Oh man, it's still better than the Hypnotic. I might not be. I knew it was Byron. I'm like, that move is the worst.
That's a fucking god awful move.
Yeah. Anyways, everyone go look that up so you know what I'm talking about. But someone out there, you all know what I'm talking about. Hopefully, we go backstage. Continuing on, Ridge, Holland, and Thea in the locker room. Thea has her match later tonight against Roxanne. She is locked in. Last year at Great American Bash, she came very close to winning the title from Tiffany, but that did not happen. and she's talking about how this time she's not a little girl and she's ready. And Ridge mentions to her there will be no throwing in the towel this year. No throwing in the towel. And you got to do whatever it takes. And Thea says, yes, I'll do whatever it takes. This is when the rest of Chase U come in and they go, new champ. And they're chanting for her. And Thea goes, I'm going to win the title tonight from Roxanne. And Ridge told me to do whatever it takes. And Andre kind of gives a little look like, whatever it takes, huh? Whatever it takes? Like, oh, really? Like, what do you mean? Like, you're going to cheat? And Thea says, yeah, whatever it takes, meaning I'm going to tap her ass out.
Chase U, they should be renamed the Red Herrings, because I feel every week they're teasing. Since Duke joined, like 2 years ago or whatever it is, every week like you're expecting some sort of turn or something to happen. And it's no, and this is okay, spelling it out for you. Thea's going to cheat tonight, or Ridge is going to try and cheat, or something. Nope.
She just reminds him of his daughter.
Just Thea.
Oh, no. You're going to make me break again.
Run me up. Do whatever it takes, Thea. Like my little girl.
This kid's probably like 2, and she's like, you remind me of my daughter.
You remind me of my little girl.
You were walking around doing that earlier today. Anyways, that's later tonight. We go backstage. Axiom and Frazier are having who are they talking to? Was this
each other, wasn't it?
It looked like they were talking to, was this one of the guys from LDF? I could be confused here. I can't understand Axiom when he's in the mask because he's but you can't hear him.
No, they're at each other again because taking other title shots, and I think one of them agreed to this match with that MSK next week.
So
without consulting the other.
Stevie and Stone come in here and basically say like, "Hey, you have to sign this contract." So Axiom agrees to it because Wes earlier texted him right about the contract for MSK. And this is when Frazier is upset. He's like, yo, you just got pinned last week, and now you're letting them face us? And good point. But Axiom says, yeah, don't worry. We'll beat them next week. And I got to get ready for my speed match this week. So, yeah, it looks like these two are getting at each other.
Yeah, it's tight. Yeah, next week's the week. Split them up.
Yeah,
we'll have another best of 7 or whatever it was.
The match. Oh, right. Yeah, the match should be amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think it'll absolutely slap. So looking forward to that. MSK and Fraxium. We go to our next match, and this was a sleeper hit. Being completely honest, this was pretty awesome. Fallon, Henley, Jazmyn, Nyx, and Jacy, Jayne. I like how Jazmyn and Jacy, they get their entrance, where it's pretty much the Toxic Attraction entrance, and then Fallon's music hits, which is good. I like Fallon's Kid Rock style theme with her Kid Rock fur coat. She comes out looking like a badass, and they're taking on, I called them the Sword Surfers, meaning Sol Ruca and Karmen Petrovic. Now they got Lola Vice on their team. What sword surfing?
The Beach Bums.
Wow, that's it. Yeah, the best I had was there was a band called the Butthole Surfers, and that's definitely not the right name. Yeah, that's definitely not the right one. So the Beach Bums. I don't know where Karmen comes in there because she's the sword lady. The bum, the blade. If Lola and Soul are a team, that's the name, the Beach Bums for sure. I like it. Anyways, these three taking on the other three in a trios match here. Soul and Fallon start off, and if you've watched these two fight before, especially in the last few weeks, Fallon has been scouting some of Soul's move. She does the classic escape the hold with her handstand, which is incredible every time I see her do it. But this time, Soul scouts the scout. She like counters the counter to the move, the kick, and then drops Fallon and surfs on top of her just to piss her off even more. Eventually, Petrovic comes in and hits a PK to Jazmyn, which is very one of Jazmyn's move, considering she's the soccer player. And then Petrovic hits like the Booker T sidekick there, and then locks in a Muda lock as well, which eventually gets broken up. Lola gets tagged in, and Jacy, Jayne are in now. And I'm not sure if it's quite noticeable, but Booker T is a big fan of Lola Vice. As we see all these sorts of kicks.
He starts going to Vic like, oh, did you see Lola Vice's Instagram this week? And Vic was like, she's like, no, with the kick pad and all that.
Yeah. So, the one where she shakes her bum and then kicks the thing. Yeah. We all saw it, Booker. So they're like hitting all sorts of different kicks here, which is great. Eventually, the baddies are sent to the outside, and Petrovic hits a tope, which is great. And then Soul tops that with a corkscrew plancha off the top rope to the outside as they go to commercial break. They're basically taking all the hits out of a PWG match, but I'm here for it. Lola, as we come back from break, is on fire. She's hitting a series of kicks and then a super kick. Eventually, Soul hits a double 450 buckshot. She kind of almost misses one of them, but hits it. And then they do a triple ass shake, the Beach Mums for sure, as they all hit the ass attack in the corner, leaving Soul and I think Fallon alone in the ring again. Soul hits a pop-up powerbomb, but Fallon kicks out of that. Somehow Jacy's in and hits a Tower of London. Shout out Nigel McGuinness here for a 2 count. This is when Nyx hits a perfect plex and then the Pele kick to Karmen, but it's broken up here. And then Fallon is in the ring and hits this new move. I don't think I've seen her hit this. It's like a pump handle into a cutter onto, I think it was Soul. I could be mistaken. One of the blondes takes this, and Fallon gets the win here in a bit of an upset. So your Beach Bums lost here. But again, sleeper hit. This was like they were hitting all sorts. Last week, I said the Sword Surfers were just taking a play out of the Young Bucks moves. And then I saw on social media, people were clip by clip showing like they were doing the sequences. Here, it felt like they were doing just all these crazy moves, and I thought this was really fun.
Me too. I'm really impressed, and I think these 6 are kind of and yeah, I include Jazmyn in that. I think she's really stepped up as well. Feel like you're next in line. Like once Roxanne finally graduates and moves on to the main roster, like your women's division in NXT is in safe hands because these are going to be the 6 like fighting for that main title. I feel. Yeah, really like this style they're going for in NXT, as you said, like the kind of PWG style. And as I mentioned earlier, I just like there to be some kind of titles to play about with this, but definitely book more of these kind of matches because I thought this was fun. And I'm going with the Beach Bum Blades.
Beach Bum Blades.
Yeah,
that works. The 3 of them, because she's got a sword. So
yeah,
she's got a sword, but she never uses it. You hope she never uses it.
And then the Toxic Cowgirls.
Toxic Cowgirl soccer player.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress. I love Sol Ruca, and she's been getting better and better and better, and one of my favorites to watch. I'm a fan of the Young Buck style, so it's just her hitting all the best Young Buck moves. It's like, yeah, okay, you're sick. You can do these things. But I think Karmen has really stepped up as well. I think everyone is stepping up here in NXT and doing these fun trio style matches for the women. Honestly, I really got into this, and they hit some pretty cool looking moves. So we need NXT tag titles to give them some like purpose in chasing, because why would you be in groups if it doesn't really help you? But I thought this was great and a definite highlight of the show. And like you said, if these are your next crop of women in NXT, I think we'll be just fine. We go backstage. Speaking of the women's division, the North American champion, Kalani Jordan, is walking as she passes by Tatum Paxley, who's playing with dolls in a dollhouse, and says, "Hey, you want to play?" And Kalani says, "No, I don't want to play with you or your dolls." And then Tatum looks at the title and says, "How about you play with me for that title?" And she's like, "Nah." And
she calls it a toy as
right,
well. I like your toy as well.
And she's like, I don't know about that. And then looks over and sees Wendy. I think Tatum walks off and she kind of looks at the dolls and sees Wendy, is like, oh no, another spooky lady. So all the spooky ladies want the North American title.
Does Kalani have a match next week? Is she against Tatum?
I think they announced Tatum and her next week.
Have they? Okay.
Yeah. So that is official for next week. So creepy doll girl versus our North American champion.
Yeah. We've said this a bunch. Like the Tatum thing isn't overly working for me, and especially not the Wendy thing. But we'd like to see how the match is, because we've seen good things from Tatum in ring.
This is where we got the Joe Hendry insert thing when he's kind of leaving, saying that next week he's going to beat Joe Coffey. Next week, Joe versus Joe, Pete Dunne versus Trick Williams, Kalani Jordan versus Tatum Paxley, Oro Mensah versus Ethan Page, and MSK versus Frazier and Axiom. So great. Yes. This next week is pretty stacked, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Especially for that tag match. But I honestly, pretty stacked show, I'd say. So definitely looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we had a brief sort of, as Hendry was leaving, it crossed over with Ashanti the Adonis leaving with some women as well.
Oh, I didn't see this.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him. The smartest guy in WWE.
Yeah. I'm not going to wrestle in NXT.
I'm not being used on
I'll
TV.
just stay in the PC.
You're going to developmental. Oh man, and then he gets here. He's like, wait a second.
All right.
Maybe it's not so bad down here. NXT Love Island.
Cedric's around trying to give advice.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah. Cedric, let me give you some advice. I think this is the smartest guy in WWE. It's NXT Love Island down there in Florida. Whatever they're doing down there in Florida, Ashanti wants in.
Yeah.
So good for him. I'm happy for him. We should all be happy for him. We go to our main event. It's the NXT Women's Championship on the line. The champion, Roxanne Perez, defending against Chase U's Thea Hail. We start off here with Roxy countering one of Thea's moves into a beautiful looking handspring standing kip up kind of thing, kind of showing off here. But Thea fights back and sends Roxy to the outside and hits a moonsault off the top to the outside as we go to commercial break. When we come back, Roxanne is in control again and hits a beautiful Northern Light suplex for a 2 count. And then she starts bullying and looking down and talking down to Thea. She starts pie-facing her as she yells at her, "You're just a little girl," as this fires up Thea as she starts to fight back. Thea goes for her coffin drop-esque move, but Roxy moves out of it and counters it into a crucifix pin, but Thea gets out of that. There's then a tope from Thea, sending her back into the ring, but then Roxy hits her with I think it's Thea who hits a really snug Michinoku driver for a 2 count there. Roxy goes for Pop Rocks, but that's countered into a sweet-looking pin attempt for a 2 count, and then she kicks out of it, but then Thea turns it into the Kimura lock, which is then countered again by Roxy into the crossface. And this was great, like back and forth, where they kept countering each other's moves here. This is where Booker T's getting angry about the ref. Chase U are all like ringside, and I think it's Duke or Ridge who's like getting really into the ropes, and Booker's like, "Yo, ref, do your job."
It's Rox is getting in their face, which allows Thea to hit her with a tope,
right?
But Booker's blaming them, like, they're interfering. It's like, no, she got in their face.
Eventually, Thea's back and hits this like rolling senton move for a near fall, and then goes for the Kimura when it's countered again into the crossface. Roxanne really knows how to lock that move in, and then Thea's kind of near the rope, so we figure it looks like Ridge is thinking about it, like moving her leg or something. It looks like he thinks about it, but eventually it's Roxanne who kicks off the ropes to get the crossface in the middle of the ring. Eventually, it's countered into the Kimura again. Roxanne rolls out of the ring, and Kimura has to be broken up. Very Brock Lesnar. She's been studying her Brock tapes. Eventually, back in the ring, though, it's Roxanne who hits the Pop Rocks for the 1, 2, 3. And Roxanne Perez retains the NXT Women's title as she just poses with the title, and NXT goes off the air.
Yeah, like no swerve. I felt like, maybe we're going to get Ridge try to cheat, which costs Thea or something. But I thought this was great. I thought really strong main event. I loved the counters back and forth between the Kimura and the crossface. And like 90% of me was pretty sure Roxanne was going to win this. I mean, you kind of set up the potential Julia match, the potential Stephanie Vacour match, Cora Jade potentially coming back and facing her. So I think Rox has a lot of opponents lined up. But there's that seed of doubt. You've got the seed of doubt of whether Thea will do whatever it takes to win that title. Thea losing that last year's Great American Bash and like a year on potentially winning it. Part of me was thinking it could happen, which made me bite on a lot of those near falls and those Kimura attempts and stuff. I just really enjoyed this. The crowd were crazy into this. Thea's come such a long way. Like both these girls are so young. I think Rox is only 22,
crazy
or something.
One of the best wrestlers in the world, I think.
I was going to ask you, like, I think we're halfway through the year, just over halfway through the year. If you're having that Julia match, if you're having that Vacour match, Roxanne could be definitely in shout for best women's wrestler of the year, I think.
Yeah, consistently too. Like this match is great. Like she has put on, she was good when she got to WWE. Like remember watching her before WWE, really young, but then she got very polished here in NXT. And I think the heel turn at first was like a little jarring, but she's come into her own and completely, the more she gets older and more comfortable on screen. And I think she's becoming the total package of like one of the best wrestlers, but now also really good at promos and talking, and just feels comfortable.
And I hope they I don't want to see her stick around NXT too long.
Yeah.
I think have those matches and then move up when the time is right, but have a solid plan with her, because she should be the future of this company. And the idea of her mixing it up with your Biancas, your Beckys, your Charlottes, and the like. There's so many fresh matches to come out of it. And I think she's fantastic. But Thea as well, like she's like some of her transitions were so smooth here. And again, she's 20 years old. It's crazy.
So crazy. Yeah, this match was awesome as well. I can't tell if I like this one or that trios match tonight the most.
For me, the main event, trios was fun, but I really got into this main event.
I was expecting some sort of swerve with. So I'm kind of like, where are we going with this? I think maybe we need to shit or get off the pot when it comes to like Ridge and whatever's going on.
Like, will this be the catalyst? They didn't win the tag titles. They didn't win the women's title.
Yeah.
Duke didn't win the North American.
Yeah. Where's Obafemi? He showed up in a car earlier, and then that was it. He showed up at the beginning of the show, and then he wasn't even on the show. He's not even scheduled for next week either.
I've done that, though. I've shown up to work, and they're like, David, you're not in today. I'm like, what? Oh, I read last week's schedule.
Yeah,
oops. I thought I was facing Duke again.
Right. Yeah. I think Thea has definitely stepped up. And again, only 20 years old. Like, it's very interesting. I saw recently, I'm forgetting which interview this was from, but she mentioned that she wrestled on a dark match with Thunder Rosa, and Thunder Rosa is the reason she got the contact to WWE.
Interesting.
They signed her right away. So
nice.
Very, very nice. 20 years old and putting on a match like this. Roxanne, 22 years old, putting on a match like very, very interesting and great to see, where I think WWE's in good hands with all the talent they got down here. But it was a very women-heavy NXT, and the women definitely shined. We had the 6-person tag. We had the tag title match in the beginning of the show and this main event. They're really focusing on the women's wrestling.
NXT as a whole usually does at this point.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the highlight of the show most weeks.
Yeah, for sure. So this was pretty good. What's next for Roxanne? We're going to have Julia come in. Julia just said in a promo somewhere that she's almost done.
Okay.
And will be going to WWE soon. We got Verker. I've seen people posting about Delta, this Australian wrestler that's apparently just a beast. Who, just looking at her, I'm like, oh, I want to watch you wrestle. You look like a monster.
So you got No Mercy, Halloween Havoc. They're both PLEs.
Yeah.
Whether we'll get a December thing or not, I'm trying to think what normally
December
comes.
to Dismember?
Yeah, maybe.
Bring it back.
But yeah, I think you've got a few big matches left in Roxanne.
Yeah.
Before, whether you move her up for, like, is she a post-Mania call-up? Is she a build-to-Mania call, like a Rumble call-up, do double duty or whatever? I don't know. I think you will get that Cora match as well.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of the show in
I
total?
really liked this week. I thought this was really, really solid. And, you know, it lived up to the kind of billing. I think sometimes you have these specials and it just feels like a regular NXT episode dressed up. And I thought this kind of felt more than that. And looking at next week's card, it looks pretty strong as well.
People in the chat are saying Deadline is the show you're thinking about. That's the December one.
Okay,
right?
that's the one with the Iron Survivor.
Right. That's right. Okay. I thought it was good too, and I'm definitely looking forward to next week. I think this wet my whistle a little bit, but now with some of the matches announced, I'm like, okay, they're cooking right now, and they were in such a lull that something has changed, that they've changed their focus and fixed whatever the problems that they were having. Whatever every week, I for a while there, I was like, we're in such this like weird gray area of like they don't know what to focus on and what's really. And now it does not feel like that. Like I wouldn't even say it's because of a TNA crossover. It's just
I don't think so.
More of a focus of like characters that they're putting.
And I think a lot of their like recruits who we had in that 2.0 era who were so green have lost that greenness now, you know, and like it's now they're thriving and now they're shining. And I think back to, you know, the first real boom of NXT was when your Sashas, your Tyler Breezes of the world and that kind of thing suddenly started shining through. And that's when it got really popular. And you had that first Brooklyn show. And I feel we've got that similar kind of buzz right now where, you know, there's a lot of wrestling going on, but people are starting to go again. NXT is a good show every week. It's
absolutely.
pretty fun, and you get good wrestling, and there's definitely prospects there who you should be excited about.
Yeah, these young and up and think like we're naming 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds. Like, it's insane that these people are definitely getting up to that level, and it's only up from here. So good stuff. That's what we thought of NXT tonight, the Great American Bash Night 1. We have a Facebook page. You can like it. Leads you to the Facebook group. You should join that. We post feedback threads every Tuesday night here, and we read them, including one from Christopher J. Hogg. Have you written in before?
Wow, we haven't heard from Chris for ages.
Chris, have you written in before? I'm not going to say it's a first time in a long time, but fuck it. It's a first time in a long time for Christopher. Or is it
Isn't that Chris Thunder?
This is Chris Thunder?
Chris Thunder from Down Under.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Chris Thunder from Down Under. Oh, he heard us talk about an Australian wrestler, and he had to chime in, didn't he?
So.
Chris Thunder, you have to. I'm not using your legal name. I'm sorry, I just doxed you, but it's Chris Thunder from Down Under. That's your real name, your God-given name. He writes in. We love you, Chris. He writes in, first time catching NXT live in a long time. That makes sense. He says, keeping my thoughts brief, the fact that TNA's Joe Hendry is so over still shocks me, and I can smell a Rascals title win, I think he means, coming next week. The women's main event was a hell of a match. Can't imagine who will knock her off. Question without notice. With the online hype about the recent international women's signing, when and how do you expect Julia, Stephanie, and Delta to show up? I think we kind of said we got these pay-per-views coming.
I feel just dripped for each PLE.
Each one is
whichever way you want to do. I mean, deadline's the end of the year. It would be kind of cool to. Normally, it's been to set up a number one contender, but the way Rox's character has been, Ava could always make her defend it in the Iron Survivor. And if you have a match with, her, Julia, Stephanie, Delta, whoever,
insane.
Could be nuts.
Yeah, pretty crazy. I think we see them show up at these PLEs in the next little while. Like the summer, we got those other ones. They'll show up for sure. We
go to Magan, who says, strong first half to the bash. Hendry remains over like Rover. Thea might have had the best match of her young career. It took Alba and Isla long enough to defend their tag titles. Why can't it be a regular occurrence? Sol Ruca's corkscrew moonsault looked elegant. Part 2 looks even better on paper. MSK versus Axiom and Fraser could steal it.
And then we go to Manny from Pacoima, who says, what a main event. With a lot of exclamation marks. He says, Thea and Roxanne did their thing. Such a great back and forth battle between the Kimura and the Crossface. All the women's matches delivered tonight, and I'm looking forward to next week's card. Exclamation mark again. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Manny. Thank you, Megan. And thank you, Chris, for writing in. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Maybe you tuned in live in the YouTube chat. I see you. Thank you, everyone, for writing in and listening. We'll be back next week to chat about Bash Night 2, and I'm definitely looking forward to that show. We got a lot of other shows you should listen to. Poisonrana Pod. At Poisonrana Pod, Twitter, Instagram. Go give us a follow. Follow all the other stuff that we do. We'll be back next Tuesday right after the Bash ends here on the Post Wrestling YouTube page live. If you miss us live, we have the recap here on the Post Wrestling podcast feed, as always.
Yeah, come and watch us live. It's always fun. We're struggling with audio. We're smelting into our seats.
We're melting. I sound like I'm in a cave. Yeah. It's all fun here at upNXT, and that's how we do things.
But we're pretty.
Yeah, exactly. Appreciate everyone out there listening and supporting. Again, follow us on all the socials for everything. Check us out on patreon.com/Poisonrana. It's only $5 to become a friend, and you get access to all the shows coming out this week, last month, our shark reviews, our movie reviews, our wrestling reviews. We do a whole lot of podcasts, and if you like what you hear, you'll definitely like the shows that we put out on the Patreon. So appreciate everyone out there. I myself, Braden Herrington, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at the Brady.
And I am at Davie Portman.
That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And shout out the forehead and shout out the beach bums.
And we both like Deadpool. That was the review.
Oh, yeah.
Ahoy!
Oh, yeah.